Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP Live. Hanging out with me, Matt Perrault, and we're the only two people remaining who have yet to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but there's still time left today, Matt Perrault, and I'm waiting for that offer to come through. Matt Perrault and I are going to take you through what looks like a pretty fun championship Sunday. We're going to do a little post-mortem on what we saw from this weekend's games and the eliminated teams. And of course, we're going to give away free stuff like a Dak Prescott helmet. That's right. If you want a chance to score the Dak Prescott signed helmet for free, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you have to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either download the Betting Pros app, leave a review of the Betting Pros podcast, or subscribe to our social media channels at Betting Pros on X and on TikTok, at least today, and at Betting Pros NFL on Instagram. The more actions you complete, the more entries you receive, and we'll be announcing the winner right here on the channel. So make sure you turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and when you can claim your prize. Matt Perrault, you're my prize. That's what you are. I want to shout out to everybody hanging out today. I want to start at the top, man. Jaden Daniels, let's just start there, man. 40 points in the second quarter between those two teams. An incredibly entertaining game, unless, of course, you're a Lions fan. I did have a bunch of Lions shares to get to the Super Bowl, that stuff from preseason, but it was such a fun coming out moment there for Jaden Daniels, and to see a rookie quarterback do what he's done at two road games. It's one thing to beat Tampa on the road. It's another thing to go into that building where Detroit has been nearly unbeatable over the last 2 years. Give me your takeaways on what you saw from Jaden Daniels and that Washington Commanders squad.
You know, it's funny because I think we look at the 40-plus point performance. Good to see you, by the way. I think we get I don't know. I think we're letting Jared Goff off the hook. I think we're all so enamored with what the offense for Washington did against that banged-up defense that we're not looking at the turnovers as being really the deciding factor. I mean, the Lions at home have been an over machine. So the idea that they're giving up points is not that surprising. Now, maybe 45 points was somewhat surprising, giving up that type of, overall effort. But that's what that offense had been doing all year. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, I can't really figure out why I know he didn't do well in Arizona. And I know Cliff Kingsbury is notorious for having amazing Septembers in college and pro football as a head coach and then falling apart in December and January. So maybe that's why he's not getting interviewed. But like when the Bears are interviewing 15 people and the Jets are interviewing 17 people and Cliff Kingsbury is not getting any attention, I think it's kind of odd as to what's going on. Given how well the offense has performed for Washington, and Ben Johnson's like everybody's darling. And I'm like, are we not watching what they're doing in Washington with a rookie quarterback? But I think it's more on Jared Goff. I think what I came away with that game is that Lions fans have to ask themselves a really hard question about, do we have a guy who the Rams gave up on and went and won the Super Bowl? Now we have a guy. Do we have to do the same thing that the Rams did in order to go win a Super Bowl? Do we have to go find the Matthew Stafford, the next guy who's going to be able to take us to a championship? Or are we going to suffer through Jared Goff performances like this for how many more years? So my main takeaway is that Jared Goff is still Jared Goff. I don't mean to be mean, but that's just what the guy is. I mean, call a spade. When it comes to big games, you really can't trust Jared Goff.
Did you think that in that moment where he threw the pick and it got his bell rung, do you think, because he really was not good, certainly after that, there's no doubt about that. Do you think that had a contributing factor to it? Because it did certainly look like he got helmet to helmet contact there. I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree either. Jared Goff in big spots, certainly something you don't want to rely on. It's also interesting that Stafford and Goff, the two remaining pocket passers in this playoffs, are now finito.
Gone. Yep. Yeah. It's the position. It's gone. If you can't move in the pocket, you're gone. I mean, it's just we're no longer seeing the Ben Roethlisbergers and Tom Brady's. Like, it's just not really. And Stafford's 36 years old. So, he's got a big decision to make, whether his contract's not guaranteed for next year. The Rams might pick it up. It's $43 million with 25 of it guaranteed. So he may be gone. He may be looking for a new team as well if the Rams want to move off of Matthew Stafford. But yeah, your point is accurate. I think you're right. I mean, pocket passing quarterbacks really are dinosaurs at the moment, and the meteor is about to hit, and it's just not how the spots can be running anymore, the position we run anymore. But I mean, that was a pick six that he got his bell rung. So like, I have a hard time when you throw a pick six in the playoffs and you overthrow your receiver by that much.
100%.
Everything that happened after the pick six, I could say, all right, maybe he did get his bell rung, but he still threw a pick six in a moment to put his team down by 2 touchdowns that really I mean, that felt like the game was over when Washington returned that.
Well, it definitely felt like the momentum had swung.
Yeah,
sure. I'm with you on that one.
That was it. Like that was like, well, okay, we're moving on to the next to Sunday, because you can't throw pick sixes in the playoffs in advance. Like, look at all the teams that won and look at all the teams that didn't. The Ravens, Lions,
turnovers. Yep.
Turnovers were the story. The Texans. I mean, turnovers in this weekend. If you want to look at who advances to New Orleans, who turns the ball over and who doesn't. It's kind of that easy right now when it comes to playoff football for me.
Also, I don't know if you watched the pregame stuff. They were interviewing all the coaches before, and there seemed to be a really strong overconfidence oozing from Dan Campbell, which is kind of funny because they haven't gotten to a Super Bowl. They haven't won anything really yet. And it just felt like, when they handled Minnesota, I guess they thought that everybody was going to lay down for them. And this is why, if you're unsure about a game, sometimes when we watch in-game live betting something, you're starting to get a feel for what's going on, or a feel for, man, I could not tell you. I turned to my cousin, I was watching the game with her, and I said, man, oh man, like I just feel like Dan Campbell's really overconfident right now. Do you get that feeling the way he's talking about these things? And Dan Quinn was very focused, all this stuff. Right. Again, Jane Daniels playing out of his mind, and obviously he's put the work in, and the guy's been terrific. Let's dial back to the Houston Texans too. Okay, I think they gave it everything they had. Unfortunately, they came up short again. Sure, Patrick Mahomes, there's some calls there, but at the end of the day, what do the Chiefs do? They get home playoff games, they get buys, and then they win 2 games to go to Super Bowl. I mean, it's very reminiscent of what our Patriots did for 20 years, and that is the formula. Find ways to win every week so that you put yourself in positions to be at home and advance. And if you're mad at it, it's too bad, everybody. Like, it's just the way things go. Now that they're going to end up getting this week a team coming in here where – again, the Buffalo Bills, they have that ability to beat Mahomes. We've seen that. But at the same time, This is in Kansas City. And again, this is can you do it when it matters the most? I guess that's the big question.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like Dan Campbell being overconfident, Dan Campbell, was caught on mic telling Kevin O'Connell, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, in Cancun.
And neither one of them got there. So like the overconfidence was absolutely apparent with Dan Campbell. I mean, he thought his main competition was going to be the Vikings, and it turned out to be much, more difficult because turnovers are the ultimate equalizer. And that's what I think from the Buffalo Bills perspective. If you go into Arrowhead and you think you can turn the ball over and beat the Chiefs, it's not happening. You have to play a perfect game. I mean, that's that they have to be, they're 2-point dogs. They have to go in there with the mindset that, like, we can't turn the football over. I mean, look at what happened with Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews fumbles the football in the most inopportune moment. Everyone's talking about the drop on the 2-point play, and I'll give it to you. That was a horrific moment. And I had Ravens futures, and I was on the Ravens that day. I mean, I really thought the Ravens
that day too, my friend. You and I were both on that. I don't think we were wrong. If you watched, if you were watching the fourth quarter of that game and you saw the turnover of Andrews there and you got the ball punched out, you just died a little inside. And then when they were driving back and Lamar took them all the way back down there, I don't know about you, but I felt like, they're gonna get this to overtime and they're gonna win. And then there it was. Do you think Andrews is gone? I know there's cap issues, looking forward next year, they have likely. Do you think Andrews is done there? It feels like it might be.
Yeah, I don't know how Ravens fans, that's, Bill Simmons called this, and I think he's right. He said that's the Mark Andrews game. Like when you go back in 5 years, 10 years,
that's right,
and you talk about the game, the Mark Andrews game. Yeah, that's the Mark Andrews game. Like you never want to have that where your name is associated with, a choke. And that's what happened. I mean, the turnover, yes, Lamar's interception was really bad and overthrown, and he contributed. The fumble for Lamar was equally bad, putting the ball on the floor on the field. You just can't do it. Same thing happened with Matthew Stafford against the Rams. Like you just no snow, whatever it is, you have to be aware that you can't.
And look, the elements mattered.
Yeah, right? But you can't carry the ball like that. I mean, that's
no, protect the football.
You got to be more protective of it. You got to be more aware of what's around you. And if you aren't used to it, then Lamar said, I'm tired of this shit. But like, okay, that's great, Lamar. You can say that and be angry and whatnot. But, you've never won 2 playoff games in the same postseason. Like that is a gigantic mark on Lamar Jackson. I don't care how great you think he is in the regular season. And I love Lamar. I don't care how amazing that you see this, 2-time MVP and the numbers he puts up and everything. That offense was the best offense in football, and Derrick Henry was incredible. But when it came down to it, you guys didn't trust Derrick Henry. You didn't give him the football on either one of your 2-point plays. And on the year,
that was weird. Did you think that was weird?
Yes. And on the year,
I was waiting for it. It didn't happen.
The Ravens went 1-5 on 2-point plays in 2024-25. Like how you're on the 2-yard line with Derrick Henry. Like that's just
I don't
Todd
know.
Monken out thinking himself and thinking I got to be more creative and do misdirections. Just line up and go run the ball. Like
I was
just let the
shocked on
battering
that
ram
last
run the
one.
ball.
That's what I was shocked at that last one too, especially the end of the game. Defense is tired on the line too. You just had a long drive. That one really shocked me. And then look, they got the play they wanted. They executed well. He just didn't catch the football, and the rest is history. Rams next year too, another team that I don't think anybody necessarily. Well, I mean, some people thought they had an outside chance. I know I did at the beginning of the year, but I didn't expect them to go on a run, 2 rounds into the playoffs. But another year older for Stafford. We'll see how that goes. Do you think the Rams are a team that has playoff aspirations again in 2025?
Yeah, if Stafford comes back, absolutely. I mean, you have Puka Nacua and you got Cooper Kupp, and then you have Matthew Stafford. You got to work on the offensive line a little bit. They need to protect Matthew Stafford a bit better. But I mean, Verse has proven to be, one of the names we're going to be talking about for a long time. Yeah. I think we're going to be having a conversation about his potential and what he'll do for that defense for a long time. And I think that they will be able to address some things in their secondary, which will help them out a lot as well. But yeah, I think the future is bright for the Rams, and in particular in the division, because let's see what happens with the 49ers. Let's see how they retool and what they look like and what Brock Purdy looks like in the coming years with an offense that has incredible skill players, but they can't stay healthy anymore. I mean, they're all getting up there in age and they're all getting hurt more and more. So it's, on paper every year, it's like, oh, the Niners. Well, I don't know. The Cardinals could be interesting. We'll see what they do in the offseason. But yeah, I like the Rams a lot for in the NFC. But, I think we have the Lions were a really good football team on paper when they're healthy. Now they're still going to be a formidable force going forward, but like in terms of like where we are in teams in January, Eagles, Bills, and I would probably put the Ravens in there as two, but in the Chiefs, like those 3 teams being left out of the 4, like we've got a really good potential for Eagles, Bills, Eagles, Chiefs type Super Bowl. If we get Washington, Buffalo in the Super Bowl and it's like 1992 all over again, this is going to be very interesting to see what the level of interest is going to be in this game, because
I think it's high.
It's high, really.
I do. I'll tell you why. Because I think if one thing about this sports culture we're in, we like new stuff, right?
Fair.
We love the news story, right? Tom Brady once upon a time was the news story, right? He was the darling. He was cool. Patrick Mahomes was the news story. He was darling. He was cool. Jaden Daniels is the news story. He was cool. Now, if Jaden Daniels starts rattling off playoff wins like crazy and starts rattling off Super Bowl wins, everyone will hate him eventually too and get sick of him and annoyed at him and all that stuff. But I think there's a little bit of a rebirth there. I think we're also discounting the historic nature of the Buffalo Bills losing and exercising those demons, and what a big story that might be on. And Josh Allen, a very, I think, public quarterback, well liked in the league, well liked, has a famous girlfriend too. He's not, Travis Kelce's not the only one. Fiance. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. And on top of which, there's a lot of Commanders fans that have been just misery for decades. Fair. And this is, it's like they don't know what to do with themselves. I don't know how many but I know one, and he does not know what to do with himself right now. He's trying to enjoy it. He's like, but I don't even know what to make of this run. So look, Super Bowl's always
East Coast, I'll give it to you. I'm just telling you, on the West Coast, I'm not sure that sells.
Maybe.
Like it's an East Coast Super Bowl. I mean, this weekend is an East Coast event. I mean, KC is Midwest, but I mean, you put Washington and you put Buffalo. Yes, people are going to watch because it's the Super Bowl, but I think the level of like West Coast, like this is interesting to them. I'll be curious to see what the ratings are going to be for it, because Eagles Chiefs will be a huge, I'm sick to death of it, but it'll be monster. It'll be monster. We've seen it 2 years ago, but it'll be a monster game. If it's Chiefs Eagles, the ratings would be absolutely monster for the game. And whether you're hate watching for Mahomes or you're watching for Taylor, or you're watching for Taylor, you're going to be watching.
Well, luckily I still have some Chiefs shares alive. There was a lot of Chiefs and Lions though to go there together. So what are you going to do? Dan Campbell, next time, don't act so tough like you won anything yet, because you haven't. So once again, Dan Campbell continues to have to learn the hard way, which is really frustrating, because last year in the playoffs in the NFC Championship game, he had to learn the hard way. And I think any boring old football coach would tell you these are bad decisions. Don't do this. And then this year again, learned the hard way in a couple tough games too, where he made some bad decisions there. That onside kick again in that Bills game. I keep going back to that, like his inability to just sometimes play against his aggression. It really is his undoing.
But I'll say this, though.
Find a balance, man.
In his defense, the Washington Commanders have done something, and Dan Campbell, I think, walked so the Commanders could run, that you're now playing football the way that many of us played video game football. Why am I punting? Sure. Why am I giving you the ball back? Why am I deciding to take my offense off the field when I'm just going to keep my offense on the field at all times? I don't need to punt. So Dan Campbell now has made it cool because nobody is ripping him. Ben Johnson had a lot to do with it, but no one's ripping the Lions for being overly aggressive. People say maybe he gets too aggressive at certain moments in other parts, like onside kicks and whatnot. But like the going for it on fourth down thing is out the window. I mean, when we were growing up, like that was, if you were a coach doing that, you would be fired like in 2 seconds. Fans would run you out on a rail if you were going for it on fourth down every time and giving teams short fields. Now we have a Washington Commanders offense where Dan Quinn has basically told Cliff Kingsbury, I don't care. Do whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, I thought they were wrong too when they went down there. I thought you take the points. Always take the points.
Fine, but I like it though. This is a new attitude of basically saying, I'm going to play with my best unit, and my best unit's my offense. And if I miss, I miss. So what?
I understand doing it in certain spots. I understand especially being aggressive when it's more of a coin flip scenario. I don't understand going forward on fourth down when you're looking at it's the first drive of the game. You just get your points, get out of there. And again, they didn't, right? So, because I feel like
would you have kicked the field goal if you were Notre Dame last night?
Notre Dame is a different thing because you were already way behind Ohio State no matter what you were doing.
No, it was 0-0. They went for it on fourth down.
Oh, in the beginning,
three times in the first drive. They went for it 3 times.
What I have, yes, because I think the difference between the video game culture and like that algorithm we're trying to work it, where you're like, hey, this is my best unit, I've got these players, is there's a human element to this, which is the mojo of a game. And I think anybody who played, anybody who coached will tell you, when you take crowds out of it, right? When you have a loud, like that crowd in Detroit was so loud, right? You couldn't even hear the announcers.
Right.
I want to take them out of it. I want to get points on the board. Just bring them down a notch. I want to get everybody settled in. And to me, when you don't get it, that you rile everybody up again and you rile that other team up again. There's a lot of ebb and flow in these big tense playoff games or any game where, you have that sort of intensity level. And that is the one thing to me that I think is sometimes these coaches who are too aggressive are still doing themselves a disservice. It's not that you can't do it in spots, but when you're just doing it all the time, I think you are putting yourself in positions where, again, maybe it's going to hurt Dan Campbell against a team like the Eagles with the defense he's got. Let's get to those games because I know we promised some talk about that. Before we do, don't forget, everybody, when you download the BettingPros app, our new BettingPros systems tool is designed to help you find winning strategies and make smarter bets. Customize your betting systems by sport, bet type, and time frame to find the best opportunities using real-time data and expert analysis. Track the performance of different betting systems over time and optimize your bets to increase your chances of success. Download the BettingPros app today and elevate your betting strategy to start making smarter bets. All right, here's the line. Matt Perrault, Washington Commanders, +6 on the road in Philadelphia. The number right now in the consensus line on BettingPros is 47.5, +235 on the Washington side. I don't know where you are with this one, but when you have these in-division teams, right, they're familiar with each other, that are built to play each other, I think the 6 is too much. I want to be on the Commander side of this. I think they have a puncher's chance to win this game. I really do with the way Daniels is playing because there's always that dysfunctional Philadelphia. And the stuff I saw at Jalen Hurts last week, again, I know elements, health, all these things, we could talk about it. It still doesn't look great to me. And I'm on the Commander side of this one. Maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't know, man. But where are you at?
I don't think you're wrong. I would just wait. I mean, already in Vegas, we're at 6.5 at the Superbook. So I think it'll close 7. I think it'll be like last week.
Wow.
It's gonna get to 7. So
now, why is that? Is that because of the Philadelphia track record of being in the playoffs the last couple of years? Their confidence against the rookie quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's the fading of a rookie quarterback. They're waiting for Jaden Daniels to turn into a pumpkin, and they're waiting for that game just to have it fall apart. I think it's more likely to happen in the Super Bowl than I do in this game. Rematch. They know the building. They know the opponent. Like this is perfect from a rookie standpoint. Like you don't have to go and learn a whole new defense. Like what they're going to try to do to you. The elements fit well. There'll be Commander fans in the building, although not tons. There will be some Commander fans that will make the trek, and there will be some Eagle fans that will sell the ticket. So you have some of your fans will be in the building. I'm on the same side as you for right now until and I don't know how we'll ever really know this, but Jalen Hurts, his knee's a problem. He got sacked in the end zone because he couldn't move. If he tore his meniscus, that doesn't get fixed in a day, in a month. Like that's a 4 to 6 week injury that takes a long time with rest and recovery. And so they'll shoot it up and he'll go and play. And I get it. Everyone is hurt. But if you're injured, you can't move. And if Jalen Hurts can't move, Saquon Barkley is far less effective because you have to worry about Jalen Hurts being able to pick up first downs with his legs. If the read option is one read and not two reads, you got a problem against anyone. And Washington was keying on Saquon Barkley. Now, it's really hard to stop Saquon Barkley. I'll give you that. He's incredible. But without Jalen Hurts being healthy, that's a big problem. So I would agree with you. I want to wait. I want 7. It's 6.5 right now. I will see what the ceiling is. Okay. If it gets to 7, it may get bought right back down to 6.5. But I think the number is 7. I want Washington plus 7. But if we get it, I like the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm on the Commander side, man. I do agree with you, though. I think if they go either team, but especially the Chiefs, I think they'd be out of their depth. I do.
Oh, Washington kills Casey.
I think Washington kills Casey?
Excuse me. Casey kills Washington. In the Super Bowl, it's in New Orleans. It's 1986 all over again. Like it is Patriots Bears in the Superdome.
Oh, you think it's that sort of?
It's that bad. It's that bad. I think that this would be
interesting.
3 straight road playoff games. It's just like the Patriots. Patriots went on the road 3 straight times. And they had to go to Miami and they had to take on Dan Marino and they beat Dan Marino and they had nothing left. They were exhausted. And they got destroyed by one of the best defenses in the history of the NFL. Now,
Tony Eason is not exactly Jaden Daniels.
No, but the running game for the Patriots was better. I mean, Moises Atupu and Craig James is better than Brian Robinson and what they're going to be running, in Austin Eckler for the Washington Commanders. So the Patriots had a legitimate running attack. That's how they were able to go on the road and win. They played defense and ran the football. I don't like Washington's chances of scoring very much up against the Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs offense will score like crazy.
With that being said, right now on the board, Kansas City to beat the Washington Commanders is plus 750. And I bet that this morning. Okay. Because I like that too. It's funny, like I said, this was my initial instinct.
I agree with you. If you think Washington can beat Philadelphia, you're far better off taking, and I did this with Ohio State in the national championship game last night. I was on plus 110 on Ohio State right after they before they kicked off for the semifinal game. I thought, okay, they're going to win the semifinal and then they'll win the final. And if they don't, I can hedge off of it. And I took Notre Dame last night plus 8.5. Really, actually took plus 10. I took it twice, 8.5, and then 10. Both ended up losing. But you have a chance to do a lot with that number of 750 if you think they can beat the Eagles, because if you go to the Super Bowl, they're not going to be plus 750. So then you could go ahead and play off of it and take the Chiefs -4, -5, whatever it might be, or maybe even take the plus points on the other side. So I love the play. If you think Washington can beat the Eagles, do not bet the money line. Bet them to win the Super Bowl at 750.
Yeah. I like it. And that combo too. You can get the combos right now. You've got Bills to beat Eagles plus 430, Bills to beat Commanders plus 900, Chiefs to beat Eagles plus 360, Chiefs to beat Commanders 750. That's the one I'm on. And then of course you got the Eagles Bills plus 470. Wow. And the Eagles to beat the Chiefs plus 380. That's what's on the board right now. And that's some, when you're trying to, there's value and there's opportunity here. Whenever you turn the page to start looking ahead and saying, okay, what's the combination here? And some of these numbers are so good. I mean, most of them are at least 3-1, if not obviously double that when I said that 750. That just feels like the most likely outcome of, I think, where these teams are. I think Washington just has that mojo and they have the confidence to go in there and win. I don't think they're intimidated by the Eagles. I don't think they're intimidated by that situation. It's familiarity. It's in-division opponent. Your familiarity is there. And I'm concerned that Nick Sirianni, once again, too, that weird thing, that dynamic between all these players and coaches and everything going on there. I don't know, the dysfunctional with a PH sometimes, and for Philadelphia. And I don't know, I'm just wondering when that comes home to roost, because usually it does in some fashion. Let's talk about the other game here too. And I say the other as if it's not a big deal. The Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs at home -1.5. 47.5 is the total, plus 110 on the Buffalo side. This is all about whether or not you think Josh Allen has enough to go in there and beat Kansas City this time around. We've gotten some fun performances there before a couple years ago. That game that went into overtime, the back and forth, the drama, that was one of the coolest games ever. I remember I thought it was done, and then I was calling my kids back in. I was like, you got to come see this. You're not going to believe what just happened. And then we ended up watching the whole overtime. So is this the moment for Josh Allen, or is this yet another situation where the guy who's probably going to win the MVP ends up not getting to the Super Bowl?
Line is 2. So here's the funny thing. Somebody made this point to me, and I thought it was so appropriate. This is 2004 Red Sox Yankees. Like, this is
you have to of the demons.
You have to go through, if you're going to win a championship, like if the Bills win this game, the Bills are winning the championship. I don't care who plays on the other side. I don't care if it's Eagles or Commanders. If Buffalo beats Kansas City in Arrowhead, they will win the Super Bowl. Can they do it? Some people have said, no, it's not 04, it's 03, where they'll get close and then something tragic will happen to the Bills because it's the Bills, and it'll be another heartbreaking loss. And Casey will go off, and they're the Yankees, and the Yankees lost the World Series that year, so maybe the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl. But the 04 analogy, I thought, like, that's really interesting because the evil empire really is the KC Chiefs. And the Bills have been trying, the little engine that could, little tiny Buffalo, trying to dethrone here and trying to find their way. And, you know, there's Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift, and, you know, Mahomes is on every commercial, and everyone knows who Andy Reid is.
Andy Reid now, too. Andy Reid's on it, which I love to see Andy Reid doing stuff. I think that's great.
So, like, all you have is little old Buffalo who, you know, with trying to find their way, and shucks, kind of how the Red Sox were in 2004, which, again, Josh Allen is an MVP candidate. The Red Sox had Hall of Fame players. So it's not, you know, totally appropriate, but I do think this is 2004 to me. I mean, this is Bills win it all. This is the Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills. I'm not sure it is for the Eagles. I mean, for the Chiefs. I do think the Eagles could beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl if the knee is okay for her.
Yeah, I don't. Ooh. I think they've got their number, and this brings me to the last point here I want to make, which is Bills to be Commanders plus 900, Chiefs to be Commanders in the Super Bowl plus 750. So, would you bet both of those, the hedge a little bit, give up a unit there just for those massive returns?
Well, no, because if the Bills win, they're both dead. So, like, I think the Bills have a shot to win. So I don't know. I mean, that's why the numbers are what the numbers are. I mean, there's a reason why.
What I'm saying, you think no, but if you think the Bills are good, if the Bills get there, they win, right?
Yes.
You're saying if Bills, they go. We both think that if the Commanders get there against the Chiefs win. We've said that.
Oh, so you want to take Buffalo plus on both those pluses?
I want to take Buffalo to beat the Commanders. And if you put money on the Buffalo Bills to beat the Commanders at plus 900 and the Chiefs to beat the Commanders at plus 750, sure, you're going to lose a little bit of return, but basically
what's
you're coming
Bills
out
over Eagles?
Bills over Eagles is plus 430.
So just bet that. Don't bet plus 250 on Buffalo. Just bet the matchup. That's weird. That's mispriced. That's not right. Wow, that's wild.
Again, it's not the matchup. It's to beat. So just want
correct.
To be clear
but
on
the
that
Bills to win the Super Bowl is plus 250.
Correct.
So you go and take, if you're going to bet a full unit,
and either one of these is much better.
They
Bills
can only
to
play
beat the Eagles
teams.
is plus 430.
They can only play two opponents.
Right. They can only play two teams. So why would you bet anything but this?
So the exacta makes more sense than taking a plus 250 bet. That's weird. That's not priced right.
On FanDuel right now.
That's not priced right. So I'll have to ask Sherapan about that on BVB today. Because
this is why you're hanging out with us here on BettingPros.
That's
because
weird.
I'm looking at this right now and I'm thinking to myself, well, look, if I think it's going to be the Commanders coming out of the NFC, I might as well just bet the other two teams to beat them because I agree. I think both of those teams, if the Bills had that emotion, would win.
Think about it. If you bet $100 on the Bills to win the Super Bowl, right, you win $250. Right. If I bet 50 on the Bills to beat the Commanders or 50 on the Bills to beat the Eagles, I'm winning more money.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, man. That's why I want to do it. I'm saying I'm coming out the positive. I'm hedging. I'm giving up a little bit.
That's I'm going to be wrong because only one bet can win, right? So
only one bet can win.
One of those bets
as
can
long
win.
As Washington gets in there, I'm a happy guy because I'm going to make money if they lose. Is what I'm saying. That's my approach.
Well, even the Eagles get there. I mean, the Eagles will. I mean, it's 200. It's you'll be in the profit as the Bills win.
You'll probably be in the black no matter what you do if you take.
Well, I guess. Approach. Okay, so hold on.
I think the Eagles to beat Kansas City and the Chiefs to beat the Eagles is the one where it's less appealing because you're only getting 360 and 380 on those.
I'll have to do the math on this to kind of look at this. So if the Eagles win, you'd make less. You have the good point. Wig too. You're right because
it only works with the Commanders because it's plus 900 and plus 750. So look, if I put $100 on it and the Chiefs win, I'm at 750 and I lost $100 extra, right?
Right.
On the Buffalo Bills not being in the Super Bowl. Okay, I'll eat that, but I'm still plus 650, right?
Yep.
I'm still above.
Yep.
I'm still winning money. To me, this is the way to hit it.
So if it's Bills Eagles, you won't make enough.
Bills Eagles not enough to do this.
You would win more money by taking just the Bills to win it all.
You have to just stick to right. Or if you didn't want to hedge it, is what I'm saying.
Well, right, but plus 250, you would win. You would win 250 versus if you did the other side and bet both exactas, you would give up 50, and then you wouldn't win as much back.
A coin flip right now, and if you think like I think that Jalen Hurts doesn't look right, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, Wig's right. 100 to win 260 for the Bills to win it all. 50 wins 250 for the Bills to win it all. Yeah, that's right. So you would wind up down on that. Okay, that's a really interesting thought though. And John Doherty, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it, man. That's an interesting thought. And by the way, you guys can always do that. You can put a super chat in there if you want a question to be asked for, and we'll guarantee to answer it. You can put a super chat in there. We'll answer it for sure.
I know there's a lot to chew on here, and we're gonna be chewing.
I gotta go look at that. I gotta go look at that. That's an interesting thought about how to play that math wise, how much money to put down. If
math wise, I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, I mean, am I willing to eat a unit? If I'm thinking it's the Bills or Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, and I think the Commanders are coming out of the other side, all I've got to do is put a unit on each. I'm going to eat a unit, but my returns are plus 750 and plus 900. Either way, I'm coming out positive.
Yeah, that's a better bet. I like that bet. That's a good bet. Now, obviously, the Eagles have got to lose.
And you're free to steal that, Matt Perrault. I want you to bet.
I like the bet. I don't know if I agree with you, though. I mean, I can steal it. I don't know if I like it.
That's right. That's all right. You
don't have to like it. The math works well. I'm not sure I agree the Eagles lose the game. I mean, cover. Right. I think I'm with you on Washington plus 7. I think I like that. I'm with you there. That's outright. I don't know if I can go outright.
Philadelphia things tend to go Philadelphia. I lived there for 6 years of my life.
That doesn't happen, but that tends to happen in the next game, not in the.
I don't know. Ask the Phillies against the Mets this week. This past year, rather, I should say.
Eagles are different, though. Eagles
are they?
Yeah, and then the Phillies are different.
I know the Phillies run was fun and all that.
Phillies have the Philly. They got the Philly special, and they've got.
Have one of those moments too, my friend. Eagles.
They have.
Remember the Donovan McNabb years? Do we not remember the Andy Reid years, getting to the NFC Championship game and losing? And how many times were they favored in that game?
He's not there anymore. It's Sirianni now.
I'm saying there's a culture there of like Buffalo Bills just falling short a little bit. All right, we got to get out of here because Matt Perrault's way over time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop your comments below, and we'll be back tomorrow with more live. Andrew Erickson and myself right here at 3 p.m.
I'm Eastern. Back at 5:30 with Terrell Furman, by the way. We got our Tuesday college basketball show starts today.
Yeah, so there you go. Anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, but there's every Tuesday will be 3 shows now. We have the Juice in the morning, we'll have us at noon, and we'll have 5:30 with Terrell Furman. So Tuesday on the Betting Pros YouTube channel is like all me.
There's never enough Matt Perrault. That's what I say. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Matt Perrault, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.